what is blockchain and what is different with the traditional database?
Okay, so blockchain, for me anyway, has a number of unique characteristics. And it's when those unique characteristics come together, or they're more than one is featured, that's when the technology comes into its own. So those four characteristics are, so number one, immutability. So when you interact with the blockchain, what's there is there and is there forever. So that leads to a number of different applications and use cases of the technology. So most notably, in kind of ones that you hear quite a lot about, are track and trace. So how do I know that the handbag I purchased for somebody is a real Louis Vuitton or Gucci handbag? So the technology can be used to verify authenticity and provenance. A second one is around smart contracts. So smart contracts are self-executing contracts when certain criteria are met. If this event happens, trigger this payment. And another example of that would be, let's say, travel insurance. So if your flight is delayed more than a certain amount of hours, you typically have to go online, fill out a form, and then you get some of your money back several weeks later, which isn't really a fantastic customer experience. So how do we use technology to create fantastic customer experiences? And we use smart contracts to trigger a payment once a flight is delayed more than a certain amount of hours. So therefore, you don't have to do any homework, you don't have to wait, the money automatically goes into your bank account. And that's a fantastic customer experience. A third thing would be in relation to decentralization. So decentralization, which is another kind of buzzword around this technology, but effectively it means that no one entity owns and manages all the data. But instead, what blockchain does is if Adil, if you and I were using a blockchain, and many other people, we would all have a copy of that data set. So it isn't about you sending me information and me managing that or doing batch processing or something like that. You have a copy and I have a copy, and so does everybody else. And what that builds up is transparency amongst all the people who have access to that information, and also builds in a thing called automated redundancy, which means if something happens to my data set, I know I can refer to somebody else's. So this is something which challenges the status quo and definitely would be different to an existing database scenario and solution. And the fourth thing is in relation to cryptography. So one of the questions that people ask around the technology is how do I upload information, or how do I upload a document or a photo to a blockchain? And the answer is you don't. What you do is you run a document through a hashing algorithm, which creates a certain number digit fingerprint of that document, and then that's what's stored on the blockchain. So the hash, or that digital fingerprint, acts as a pointing device to information which might be stored on a Google Cloud or Microsoft Azure or AWS, as the case may be. So when you have when you have applications or use cases which really tick one or more, or ideally four of those characteristics, that's when you have a strong blockchain application and use case. And yeah, that's when I think companies start becoming more and more interested.